Welcome to our local music show here tonight on the Rock Station 97.7. You found the Grassroots show. And a couple of gentlemen in the studio with us here tonight. And this is pretty cool, shooting a documentary about local music here.
Yeah, another first for the Grassroots show here also.
That's right. So you're in charge of shooting this. You have to come up with the concept and put this all together?
Yep.
By yourself, do you do this as far as the thought process for the class individually?
Yeah, for the class and the editing and stuff, and then that's pretty much the end of the grade. You have to make a 22-minute documentary, and I'm doing it on music in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The city of champions, or the city of bridges. But there's more to the city than that. You can find music anywhere you go, but there's something special when it comes to music in Pittsburgh. All the way from the 1800s to now, it's been something magnificent. I've met up with Rachel Howard with the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra at Heinz Hall to talk about the true beginning of the Pittsburgh music scene.
My name is Rachel Howard, and I am the Director of Popular Programming at the Pittsburgh Symphony. So the main function of my job is to really devise the popular programming that the orchestra performs from year to year. So we have the PNC Pop series, and that has 7 programs of a subscription season, including our holiday pops, Highmark holiday pops, which is a tradition that's really big for Pittsburghers from year to year. They come every year to hear the holiday pops. We have a strong summer season where we might do shows with big names like Smokey Robinson. We did a show with Nelly, the hip hop artist, last year. So we're really trying to get into doing all the fun, entertaining stuff that the orchestra can play. It's a rich background. We just celebrated our 120th anniversary last season. So yeah, the Pittsburgh Symphony has been a part of the Pittsburgh culture for that long, and really one of the first orchestras of this caliber in the country. And has remained one of the top 10 orchestras in the country. We tour internationally, so it's a world-class orchestra. And the Pops has been around, not as long as the classical, but for a very long time as well. So it's been a big part of the Pittsburgh tapestry.
Pittsburgh is the home for every type of person. When it comes to musicians, we definitely have our fair share. Here's some of the many musicians that came out of the Steel City.
Everything I do it big. Yeah.
Most people, they will never know. I work harder than anybody you know. I'm done with tricks, don't need. But I guess that's why they say every road. See the woman staring at the door. Got my
I met with Chris Jameson, a finalist on NBC's The Voice at Coffee Buddha in Ross Township, to talk about the uprise of his Pittsburgh fame.
I am Chris Jameson, and I'm a singer-songwriter. So I auditioned for The Voice back in October of 2014. I think it was about 2 years ago. And it was great. I made it on the show. Adam Levine was my coach. And long story short, came in 3rd place, and now I am a singer full-time. I was in school before The Voice in college for business, and now I am a singer. Growing up, I did everything that I did music-wise was in Pittsburgh. So I was a part of a group called the North Star Kids, which is like a singing and dancing group for kids. I think the ages are like 2nd grade through 8th grade. And then I went from there and did stuff with the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, did some shows with them, took vocal lessons. A lot of it was all musical theater based when I was younger. And then when I got to college, I really started doing my own music and started experimenting with different like sounds and artists and inspirations and things like that, just to kind of figure out what my sound was and what I wanted to sound like and sing like and all that good stuff.
Couldn't see what was in front of me till you opened my eyes. Started out alright, now you got me waiting. Going crazy, these walls are caving.
But growing up with like a singing voice, my singing voice has gotten a lot different since I first started singing, which was in like 5th grade. So I can do a lot of things now vocally that I obviously couldn't do then. And I'm still figuring out different ways to kind of evolve my singing voice and figure out, okay, what can I do to make it better, or what can I do to make it more unique? But I don't know, I guess it was cool growing up with a good singing voice because I enjoyed music, so it was nice to be able to not be bad at singing, because that would have been unfortunate. But no, I mean, it's great. It's really cool.
I then met up with Greg Joseph, the bassist of Pittsburgh band The Clarks, to talk about their uprise of fame.
My name is Greg Joseph, and I am the bass player for the Pittsburgh band The Clarks. In addition to playing with the band The Clarks, I'm also a professor at Point Park University. I started to play when I was a freshman at IUP back in the 80s, and there were a few guys on my hall that played guitar, and I loved it. I loved watching them play, and one day I went and bought a couple of harmonicas and started to jam with them, and then a few months later I asked my mom if she would put some money in the bank that I could buy an acoustic guitar, and the guys on my hall taught me how to play, and I fell in love with it. They were the first influence in my life, and I've loved music ever since I was a kid. Listened to a lot of records that my brothers and sisters had, and you know, some of the bands I liked early on were bands like Elvis Costello, The Police. Those were the early influences for me. Creation of the Clarks was back in the 80s, and we've been together for 30 years now. The band has been together, 4 original members still in the band. When we were at school, I met up with Rob, our guitar player, and we played in a couple of bands during my senior year, and then as I left school, Rob hooked up with a couple other guys, and that would be Dave, our drummer, and Scott, our lead guitar player.
There's a penny on the floor and you're standing at the door. Turn around and say goodbye. A woman like you comes around just once a life. Some dreams are in the air, some are seen. I read.
I then asked them about what it's like to be one of the most famous people out of Pittsburgh.
It's a pleasant surprise to be one of the larger bands in the Pittsburgh area. I don't think any of us ever started out thinking that we would be into this band 30 years later. It feels good. I mean, there's some political capital to having been in a band for 30 years, and people recognize you, and you know, when somebody comes up and says, you know, I used one of your songs as our wedding song, or that's a song that got me out of a you know, deep depression or whatever. There's something really special about digging into people's hearts and being part of their hearts and minds.
You know, it feels good. I love walking around and meeting people, and especially because of being on The Voice, people now, you know, will come up and be like, hey, I voted for you, or hey, you're great, kind of a picture, kind of this or that on it, and that's weird because it's not what I'm used to, obviously. I mean, I've grown up in Pittsburgh my whole life, and so to walk around and people want a picture with little Chris Jameson from the North Hills doesn't really make much sense to me. But with all that being said, I love it. I love meeting the people. I mean, The Voice is a show where the only way you get to continue through the competition is if people vote for you, and so those are all the people that I meet in Pittsburgh that come up to me. You know, they took the time to vote, and so I owe a little bit of my, not a little bit, but a lot of my career to them and to their, the fact that they kept me around in the competition long enough to now be able to have a career in music.
I met up with Byron Nash, a local musician and owner of Be Independent Music, to talk about his career in the music industry.
My name is Byron Nash, and I am a guitar player. I was raised around music, and my mom had a super extensive music collection, so in our house there was every different style of music being played all the time. She took us to concerts early. From an early age I knew I wanted to play, and but I didn't really start playing an instrument, a real instrument, like seriously, until probably like late teens. But just my upbringing and just going to plays and musicals and the things that we would watch. I'm a fan of Kendrick Lamar because he seems to be like a true artist that reminds me of the style of artist from back in the day. He's just pure through his art, he works hard, he creates a lot of content. He's all music and art based, so a lot of that influence came from my mom, and then there was a point where I decided to pursue it for my life. What is this Byron Nash, but also it's Be Independent. So it's sort of a play on words of me branching out from bands and trying to do something musical that isn't connected to the band only. So if there's an idea that I have and I meet a video guy who says, hey, you have any music that I can use in this little video cut, I can produce things in that realm that are just based off of being creative. And I, at one point, got really focused on trying to record music. If you really want to try to expand yourself as an artist, they're out there for you to do it. And under that moniker, Be Independent Music, is sort of me as a solo artist and also as a businessman, because there's other things that I can do creatively that can generate income or help promote me in different realms. So I wanted to have something that was official.
I decided to ask them how Pittsburgh helped to make their careers grow.
Mainly in the last couple of months, probably the last 3 or 4 months, I've really gotten heavily involved in the music scene and started planning out things for this year. So it's just a cool place, and I look forward to kind of being here more and doing a lot more in the Pittsburgh music scene.
But when I moved back to Pittsburgh, I had a guitar, but I wasn't a guitar player. I didn't have a band. And I started working at a magazine called Rock and Roll Reporter as an art intern. And from that, I started really honing my writing skills. So I started interviewing bands. I started going to a lot more shows for work and taking photos. And it just sort of integrated me into the Pittsburgh music scene.
Pittsburgh radio has been really supportive of the Clarks, whether it's WDVE, WYEP, and there have been a number of stations over the years that supported the band. But I think Pittsburgh really takes to its local talent, to its local sports teams, and that's been a tremendous help.
I sat down with 97.7 WLER radio host Bob Cupp to see what it's like to have the ears of Pittsburgh music fans.
My name is Bob Cupp, and I am the morning show host of a station at the Butler Media Group, and also co-host of the Grassroots show on the Rock Station 97.7 FM. The Grassroots show is a local-based music show that airs Sunday nights on the Rock Station 97.7 and features local musicians, local bands, the music they've created. We usually have an interview, one guest a week or a band a week visit with us, and they come in, we talk about their music, play their music, and we surround it with usually 4 to 6 other local bands that are playing actively around the area. It's all live, original music, if you will, and we play it every Sunday night on 97.7 FM. We started this show 5 years ago now. It came out of a conversation that I had with my co-host, Utah Burgess of Shady Lady Productions. He was in to promote a show that he was doing at a local venue involving local music, and we struck up a conversation of our love of music, and especially the local music scene, and how talented we felt it was. And that conversation led to the beginning of the show, and we thought we would try it out and see what happened, and here it is 5 years later, and about 225 episodes later, that we've continued on, and I really think we're just kind of mining the surface of the talent that is here in Western Pennsylvania, because this has been a strong music scene for a lot of years, but we really feel that it's kind of rejuvenated itself, and especially the original talents that are here. There's a lot. Well, I grew up in this area, and I've been here at the radio stations for over 30 years. And there's something about, I don't know, maybe it goes back to that blue-collar attitude. You know, this is a very unique area. The people are very unique. It's a fun place to be around. And especially with our situation here in the Butler Media Group stations. We're locally owned. It's kind of, you know, you're talking about local music, live, local, original. We have a local station here, and we have a lot of freedom to do what we're able to do. For example, do the Grassroots show that we do here on Sunday nights. So it's a very enjoyable atmosphere to be around, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. I mean, I've traveled a lot of different places, but the music scene here is second to none, and I think the people are too.
I attended the Pittsburgh Rock and Roll Legends Awards, hosted by the Cancer Caring Center at Jurgles Rhythm Grow in Warrendale. With auctions, music, and awards, we all were there to honor and celebrate the worldwide impact of Pittsburgh music.
We're going to show you the influence that Pittsburgh has had on the national music scene. Tonight, we are going to celebrate the power of Pittsburgh rock and roll. We are going to celebrate the power of Pittsburgh radio. Beaver County, there was another band we all heard about. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, their name is the Jaggers. Thank you for Pittsburgh, and thank you, Jagger fans. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Modern era legend is Tommy James and the Shondells.
I'm very sorry I can't be there with you to celebrate and thank you personally, but I want you to know how very much this means to me. God bless you all, and thanks again, Pittsburgh.
We get a lot of questions from people, are you in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet? And we have a new answer. We do better than that. We are legends in Pittsburgh. My baby does the hanky-panky. My baby does the hanky-panky.
There also was a performance by the Pittsburgh All-Star Band. After the awards, I talked to Jurgles promotion manager Rachel Weefling.
My name's Rachel Weefling, and my occupation is promotions director at Jurgles Rhythm Grow. So as the promotions director at Jurgles, I handle all the advertising and marketing, social media. I also book every charity event and special event we have, so Halloween, New Year's Eve, you know, I get to do all the fun stuff. And then for charity events, I work with Shear the Beard, so that's Brett Kiesel, and we just did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the Cancer Caring Center. So I get to do a lot of the fun stuff. I think Jurgles is a good venue because we have some seating. We do have some seating. We do have food, which is nice, so people can actually come, order food, order drinks, see the show, you know, have like the whole